What's up, y'all? My name is Anthony Elam, and I've been developing as a software engineer, that is, for I think a total of maybe 9 years. I've been working for a company for maybe my current company for 5 years. Now, what I've learned, just so y'all understand a little bit about myself, just a little bit about me. I grew up in Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan. Highland Park is my borough. It's a city inside Detroit, off of 6 Mile and Woodward. Now, it's a rough neighborhood, so I don't need to say anything more about that, all right? Now, I was probably troubled as a youth because of the environment that I grew up in. Like I said, it was tough, so you had to learn how to survive. There's a lot of violence going on, a lot of drugs, a lot of addictions, a lot of crazy stuff. So back then, when I was growing up, I thought that that was the way of life. You didn't know or understand what other options I had. So I was always fighting, um, always getting into physical fights, altercations, and stuff like that. So anyway, I didn't have an easy transition to this area, and it still isn't easy for me because I didn't grow up in a school in an environment where we had the best. I had access to the best schools. Um, there's that, right? So I think about that. Certain people may have significant advantage because if you have the opportunity, for one, if you're motivated and determined to learn, having people who actually possess that knowledge and understanding and the passion to impart that wisdom and understanding to you, that's where it's at, right? That's ideal. Not to say that there wasn't teachers like that, but at the time, given where I was growing up, he was basically living for the day, for the moment, and not really thinking about the future. You got to survive when you come out of school. You got to think about gunshots, avoiding stabbed, avoiding influences like drugs and alcohol and all kinds of other stuff. That's was crazy. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you an understanding of a little overview of what I went through growing up to give you an understanding or help you better understand where at today and what has influenced my decisions. So I'm really I've discovered that I'm really good at problem solving. Okay, really passionate about problem solving. So that's for one, I really wanted to solve the problem of earning a significant amount of money because fast forward, I have a large family, right? I have a wife and 6 children, 2 boys and 4 girls. Okay, I really needed to figure out a way to take care of my family because I wasn't always doing the right thing. You said was growing up basically selfish, for myself. Um, that's kind of the environment that I grew up in, so it kind of trained me to be that way. But because it was went into the military, got in trouble a lot there, but it helped me see some things. You talked about honor, courage, and commitment. That was the core values. I went into the Navy, like I said. So, um, surprising to me is that to find that it was a lot of politics going on even in the military. I didn't think it would be like that, although I didn't want to go into the military, but I like to say I didn't have any other choice unless I wanted to go to prison. That's where I was headed because I got set up by a friend of mine's friend, a friend of a friend. We were all out hanging out the mall. And I didn't know they were stealing. And all of a sudden, we're all walking out with bags. They bought some things, but then stuffed things in their bag. I didn't know. But that's not an excuse according to the law. I was looked at as a co-conspirator. And because I was old enough to be tried as an adult, that's exactly what was happening. And I had a auntie's husband's brother he was a military Navy at the time, and he spoke to the judge on my behalf at my hearing at the court date. And judge that I recommended that I asked the judge for right just to give me an option to go into the military. to get me shaped up, right? To get me into shape, right? My attitude and everything. I think I still needed it. Um, I did get it. It was just not in the way in which I expected. Like I said, I got into trouble a lot in the military. I was at captain's mast a lot. So anyway, I still learned from those experiences, even though it came later on. It was kind of those pivotal moments in my life. So I said all of that to, said, just to give you all an overview, but to help you understand that it wasn't easy to even arrive here. Now, when you think about the technology industry, yeah, there's a lot of money in it. I looked into it and I saw people were making six-figure salaries. So naturally, that's why I had an inclination for computers. Um, did have at some point a computer class, and had some computers, some old computers, Apple computers, we were working on. Um, it was fun, and I began to think, because I was introduced to it at that point. That's when I really caught um, going to it. But I didn't have it at home, and didn't have the opportunity to like get and play with it. That opportunity came later when my dad actually bought one. So anyway, I started playing around with that once he finally bought one and brought one home. I was all in that thing. So pause. Okay. Don't do me, okay? But yeah, it was playing around with it, so it was crazy, and I really enjoyed that. But anyway, when you growing up in the hood, man, you really don't have that much time to be thinking about computers when you're trying to survive. So I didn't really dive into that, just play around with it times, but it would basically collect dust. So it was still fun. So fast forward, started getting back into computers, hardware on the hardware side. Started working for companies like Geek Squad. Um, it's funny because you in the hood and like growing up in the city or something like that, you didn't really get made fun of, because even when I wore the uniform, the Geek Squad uniforms was pretty dope though. Colors, the black and orange, that was crazy. And so the way I was rocking it, they give you the gloves, and oh man, it was crazy. So I was flexing anyway, but I didn't get made fun of. I made it look cool. But people be like, "Yo, you work for Geek Squad? Yo, can you help me with da 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 da?" You never get like that, or like, "Oh, you a nerd or a geek or something like that." I think I kind of what it looks like to be in that this space. And obviously, I don't look and talk like what be typical. And I think that stereotype is long went out the window, been thrown out, tossed out the window, because what I see today is so many people like in the gym, and there's others like myself in the gym, and we working out like strong. You feel me? You in the gym, doing things like you don't see me with a pocket protector and that crazy stuff that you might see on the movies, but really enjoy this space. But let me tell y'all something. Let me keep it 100, a buck, okay? Really difficult for me, because the people that my colleagues that I work with, they've been in this for a minute, and they know this stuff, and I kind of depression, like kind of like there's this maybe people believe that I don't belong, and you might be right. You may be right. I don't belong. Um, I'm just playing around with this, or I'm not taking it serious. Um, I don't know, but they know I don't know as much as they do. And got a phrase for some people like to describe thing as like syndrome, like faking it. Like I don't. And when I heard that, I laughed. I chuckled to myself, because I said, you're kind of interesting, right? Imposter syndrome. But yeah, you might consider me an imposter in this space. But I really do love technology. I really do love solving problems. If you come from where I come from, and you might enjoy some of the type of shows that I enjoy, like The Wire, like that, kinds of crazy shows like that, right? But one of the things that, if you ever heard about BMF, Black Mafia Family, they law enforcement agencies that went after BMF said this in a documentary in their interview with Matter. They were talking about Big Meech. They said that this guy is so intelligent to be able to come from where he came from, be faced with the circumstances that he was faced with, and think of a way to overcome those challenges and obstacles to build or create something so huge. Although it was illegal, this is from them. This is what they're saying. FBI, all of these different agencies, and they really had a lot of respect for Big Meech and what he put together, him and his brother put together. And they was like, man, this guy could have built a Fortune 500 company with the level of skills that he has and his networking abilities. When you look at what he put together and how much money he was producing every day and how he organized that organization, it was crazy. No one had ever done that. Now, there have been people who had done something similar, but not at the scale at which he did it. Him and his brother did it. So when I think about stuff like that, I know y'all feeling me, right? Because that's basically the situation I was in. You get a choice, right? You get a choice to like ball, um, that's basketball or football, or sell dope, do drugs and get into trouble and stay out all late in clubs and all of that stuff. So I did all of that, but just kind of felt like I was just doing those things because I felt like it was all that there was to do. I didn't really enjoy it, although women getting hit in the club and stuff like that. I don't know, just that was always fun for me. But anything else, like all that other stuff, it really didn't. Really wasn't really enjoying that stuff. I was just doing it because I was bored. But this, I just thought to myself, like, man, in the drug game, you could flip, right? You could flip a brick, you could flip, you know, you can flip a key. Just keep, start out from, maybe you start out with grams, a couple of grams, and then you might get up to an ounce, and then you might get up to a O. Just keep from there. But I thought, I could flip this. I thought to myself, what if I could flip like and produce income? And so I gave it a shot. I said, but the challenge was told that you had to go to college. So I was looking for a space that would allow me to just hit the library, that I had easy access to. And what it was for me. That's how I'm just giving y'all, as to how I jumped into this game. I was looking for something that was accessible, something where I could dive in right then and there. And I needed access to the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding at my fingertips. And that's what software development was. All you needed is a computer and books. And when I saw that, that's why I'm here. It was just that simple. You went to the library, and by this time, have online, so books were online. Didn't really tell you. I didn't really. Maybe Amazon was around at this time, because like I said, I've been doing this for 9 years. So if I go back 9 years, I can't tell you when Amazon really started. Maybe it was, but I don't recall finding any books off of it. I was just searching the net because they had platforms like Pack Publishing and stuff like that. I think that's where I found my books. But anyway, I jumped in and I started seeing it. Now I'm looking at all of this text, and the books are thick, with all kinds of stuff, and the programming language looks like a foreign language. And so I was like, man, this looks like a lot. But I was just determined. Prove to myself, could I flip? I know I could flip and do what Big Meech did, but I'm like, can I do it legally in corporate America? So that's what to challenge myself to see if I could do that. And obviously, fast forward to the day, you're making a six-figure salary plus, right? So that's the thing. Now, this video to see if like anybody out there want to maybe interested in learning with me, because although I might be in the game 9 years, let me tell y'all, I do not know the core concepts of programming. There's core concepts and principles, the design patterns, kinds of stuff, different paradigms that can help you be successful. Now, if you don't know that, it doesn't mean that you won't be successful, because I'm proof of that. Now, what it means is that you might struggle, and you might struggle a lot. And I kind of approach was trying to fast track my salary. So to do that, I didn't stay in one particular technology, neither did I stay at one particular job. And the way in which you increase your salary, one way in which you can increase your salary quickly is by working with contracting companies, and they'll get you a contract. You interview with them, you display your skill at whatever level you're at and your passion, and then they'll connect you to the right company. And then I did that. So I would just keep doing that, and they'd flip me over to another company who was looking for, like myself. He was passionate, wanted to learn and put in the work. And that's what I did. And so every time I went to a new contract, I would, and it would go from like $20,000 jumps. So I started out like at 40, like over 40K when I got in. And that was huge for me, even then, because I was working customer service gigs. And I said, even at Geek Squad, I was only getting paid like 10 hours or something like that. But I enjoyed it. It was fun to me. But service, the max most that I made was 19 an hour. So um, I like the problem solving aspect of customer service. And you have a thing called where you have to find the information to provide to the customers. And I was really good at searching that and learning it to be able to. It was a computer, it's an application, it's a web app. And when I saw that, I was like, yo, this is amazing. So that was my first experience with a web application where you really search it. Knowledge. You store the knowledge had to be stored in there. But that's exactly what I did. So with that being said, was able to and then by learning, jumping in salary by working with contractors, contracting companies, and jumping my salary from 45 to a six-figure plus salary. Now, I think the rules are is I can't really disclose what my salary is, because I've seen people actually get fired for that. So I can't really say. Um, there is money. Excuse me. There is a lot of money in technology. Just put it like that. And so I'm very thankful that the Lord allowed me to get into this position. Okay, I'm very thankful to be able to finally take care of my family. I'm really a proud husband and father to be able to do that, because he left my wife at the time to handle all of that for a long time by herself, and that's not cool. That's not gangster, okay? In this day and age, it's not gangster to be sitting up here having kids and leaving them out here to fend for themselves and figure stuff out. So I made a decision to not do that, not be selfish, and do what I would like for somebody to have done for me now. Yeah, where I'm at. And that's how I transitioned into this field, into this space. It was easily accessible. I started with JavaScript. It's a web-based. All you need is a computer and a web browser and a notepad. And when I saw how easy it was, and when I say easy, I'm just referring to having everything that you need to make it happen. You're trying to build it, like, say, for example, a business. You got to find financing. You got to get investors of some sort. You got to go get some brick and mortar building, depending on your business, or go build a website, a web application that talks about your business or displays or provides information about your business. And you got to get that built. Then you got to find the professionals who can do that for you. You have to learn how to do it yourself. And you have all of these different obstacles at each level. So it's not easily accessible, and that's kind of area to entry, right? So um, this, though, I had everything at my fingertips, and that's what I enjoy. I love that part about it. If I wanted to learn, I just keep flipping the page, and that's all it was. So here I am today, and I wanted to talk to y'all about where I'm at today after 9 years of developing. They say, well, Anthony, how could you be successful as a developer if you don't even know these core fundamental programming concepts and fundamentals? And I'm like, well, it's pretty simple. I'll give you the short answer. Is that you can learn the technology. And think about how we interact in the world as a child. You can begin to interact in the world without even understanding everything fully. So as a child, you can learn how to talk before you can learn how to read. So you can communicate with people, but you just can't. if it comes down to having a session where you're reading a book, where everybody in the group is reading a book, well, obviously you're going to struggle there because you don't know how to read. But if we're talking about being able to watch something instead of reading something and then talk about it, well, then that becomes a little bit easier because once you've learned how to talk and put a few words together to form complete sentences to express your thoughts, right? Then it becomes easier for you to do that and interact with others in the world. So that's the example that I'm using to help you understand how I was able to succeed. So you can learn a technology like JavaScript or Python or something like that, and that'll teach you how to put code together line by line. And so if a job is looking for somebody who can, let's say you have a more experienced developer and they're trying to offload some work. So they're not doing the development. They're going to pass off that development work to somebody else. They'll provide you with the parameters that you need to work within, the guardrails, and then tell you, okay, what we need, here's why we need it, here's what I need you to do, here's where I need you to put it, and here's what I need you to check when you're done. So they'll give you all of that, and then the only thing you're doing is taking the technology that you've learned and building it. So you're just writing the instructions, right? Because that's all development is lines of instructions. So when you learn the technology, you kind of lines of instructions because any tutorial is going to teach you how to start building that. And if you go check the documentation for any technology, it'll give you some sample applications to begin writing lines of instructions. So that what it was for me, okay? That's how I was able to succeed this far. Now, it hasn't been easy. I've been facing it comes down to people decide decisions. When I say people, I mean companies, your boss, your managers, making a decision to keep you or let you go. Well, it's going to come down to skills, right? Your value to that company, to that employer. And I've been let go a few times. I've been the threat of being let go, um, to being laid off, all kinds of stuff, even up to this point. So it hasn't been easy. So I'm not even gonna tell y'all like, yeah, it's a day in the life in a software engineer and everything is just gravy. It hasn't been for me. Now it might be for other people, but so it is possible, but it just hasn't been for me. So that's the point. I'm just sharing with you all what I've been through. So now that I'm here and I'm letting you know that I haven't learned those core concepts and principles and design patterns and all and the like, time for me to learn it, right? I don't want to continue struggling through. I don't want to lack confidence when your team is getting development tasks and I'm hesitant to accept that particular task because I'm not familiar with that technology and I don't know where to begin or how to start. Yeah, it could be scary. It could be, it's like that. And so that's only for a moment. So it won't last if I do something about it. So I've been dealing with that for the past 9 years and it's time to end that. Okay. There's other reasons as to why it's been going on for so long. And that's like I said, man, I'm growing up. I was in the process of trying to get myself together physically, spiritually, because all of it was off and out of whack. Like I said, drugs, I, you know, so that's what it was about, y'all. Um, I am today, and I'm excited for the future. Excited about my present, my past, using that to learn from it each day as I continue to move forward. And I'm really excited. So there's reasons as to what prevented me from. Those are some of the reasons that prevented me from being able to dedicate time. So many distractions, man, and then having new kids. My youngest child is 5 years old, so my oldest is 26. So y'all, you can see any parents out there, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? 4 girls, 2 boys, man. Come on, man. So anyway, what's saying? So yeah, now that you understand some of those challenges that I went through, now it's time for me to do something about it. I have the time to do something about it. excuse me, let me rephrase. I'm making the time to do something about this. So now it's time to learn those core um, and principles. So I'm asking or inviting anyone out there who checks out this video, comes across this video, this content. If you're interested, join along with me because I'm gonna do this and maybe break it down over a couple of series, right? One where I'm learning core concepts and principles. The other is helping people understand how to use technology in their life, in their day to day, whether you're an individual or an entrepreneur. So those are the two things that I want to tackle, the two goals that I want to tackle. So I want to show those who want to learn and be where I'm at and then eventually surpass where I'm at. I want to take you along for the ride and show you how I'm doing it because, again, I'm working for a Fortune 500 company working on enterprise applications. So I have 9 years of experience so I can give you some insight. And I'm actively doing that today, so I think that helps. Um, Trying to learn from a tutorial because you're just going to get some basic stuff. And there's some nuances that you encounter on a job like mine versus working on a project on these tutorials online, YouTube or any other tutorial. So it can get crazy. So you really want to kind of well-rounded developer, and I can help you do that. Um, the other aspect, like I said, is sharing with people, giving people insight as to how you can use technology, not just like it's not recommended for everybody to learn how to build the software, but if you know that software can be built from something basic, something more complex to solve a particular problem that you're dealing with. For example, like I transcribed in a video that I was working on. When I transcribed it, I needed to export it. When I exported, the program only allowed me to export the transcription into a specific format, and it's SRT. Well, the SRT format includes um, timestamp and a sequence number. So it breaks down the transcription into blocks. How it does this, that's I can share that with you another time, but it breaks down the transcription over blocks. So you might have like thought. So think of it that way, a complete thought. So um, that complete thought could include one or more sentences. So we know a sentence is an expression of a complete thought, blah, blah, blah. But it could be like one, two sentences. Or it's crazy, but that's what it'll have. It'll have first row sequence number, second row timestamp, and then third row the actual text. And then followed by a space, which that's your indicator for, okay, I'm about to begin the next block. Okay? Think of it like a thought block. So you got all these a sequence of thought blocks for the SRT format. Now, the problem was is I needed to put this transcription into a different program. I'm creating the content, and it uses AI machine learning technology to take my transcription and then create a video for it, give it subtitles and all of that good stuff. So I needed to get rid of the unnecessary characters like the timestamps and sequence numbers and clean it up. Now, how do I do that? Well, I was able to technology to do that. So obviously you might be aware of ChatGPT, but you may not know that you can actually ask ChatGPT to help you build a program that can remove all that extra characters and then format it the way you want it, and then you can feed it to the other program. Now, obviously, Chat can do this depending on if you have the pro level, you do that. If you don't, then you won't be able to do that. So anyway, through Chat, I was able to ask Chat, hey, here's what it is that I'm looking for. Explain to him what I want. I'm using, it's not a him, obviously. Just ask Chat to a set of requirements, and I fed it the SRT file, and it did what I needed and spit out put. So I was able to feed that to the other program just fine. So now you may be dealing with something similar like that, right? These different challenges, even as a whether, like I said, as an individual or an entrepreneur, if you're doing it for personal reasons or your business, but you're just trying to be more productive and get rid of all of these tedious tasks that you have to do. Like, how can I go through my resume and reformat it, or I can, grammatically speaking, improve it, make improvements, add more action words, that nature, just all kinds of things that you might not have thought that a simple program could be built to help you do that and automate that process. And then you might even find that you can offer that same program as a service to other people who also run into that problem in your sphere of influence. Then you can end up generating some income from that. So it's stuff like that, but I may not have an idea of the many ways in which technology can help you. And I was just trying to point out that you may not need to learn how to build a program, but it's helpful to know that there's programs already available out there, some free, some paid, where you can actually be your problem and become more productive, right, and successful. So that helps. And there's so much out there. Where do you begin? There's so many programs out there, so many applications, so many solutions out there. So where do you begin? That could be difficult. So I'm going to help people navigate what's out there and find the solution, help you find the solution that's right for your situation. And if it needs to be customized, then we can do that as well. So we can work together and do that also. Now, my goal is to serve, right? That's what I've been learning in my walk with the Lord is servitude, okay? Body, okay? People, serve the public, okay? Let's think about helping others, myself. So I'm not going to, I don't know how I'm going to set this up, but I don't think I'm going to charge the top. I don't know how I'll set this up. Obviously, um, economic climate that we're in, you're getting laid off left and right. So I want to be mindful of that, and I want to help as many people as I can. There's only one me, so that's the only thing. I do work full time, so got to figure something out that find that balance between trying to help people, many as I can, without charging per se. I just want to offer some things for free, a lot of things for free, but I think some of the more complex stuff I might have to, because it's might be time consuming. But anyway, we'll see. I'll work with you all. Y'all can help me figure it out because y'all understand what I've been going through. So do it. So that's, now that you have an overview of how I grew up, where I came from, and what it's been like, and what my plans, what my goals are today, to learn, and you can learn with me if you're interested in getting into this industry and learning how to become a developer engineer. Then yeah, because I began on the front end. That's the client facing aspect of the program of an application or app, and the back end is what I described as, that's part of the system that feeds information or data into the application that you see when you're, as a user, working with an application of any kind, whether it's an app on your phone or an app in the browser. So what feeds the information or the data to the application. So now I'm mostly working on the back end, well, completely working on the back end side of this space. So there's front end and back end, and then there's full stack. Full stack means you do both. After working on the front end for the last 6 years, for the past 3 years working on the back end side of development, I really enjoy the back end side. I'm not really a fan of the front end. So anyway, but that's to address that later. But so now that y'all have that, you want to learn, come join me, and I have a plan. So let me give you an insight of the learning plan. So I went and asked Chat for assistance on this because I'm like, yo, Chat, I don't even know where to start, man. So Chat gave me a comprehensive or a learning plan for my professional development. I expressed some concerns. I said, look, man, I'm trying to ensure my, what you said, job security. I'm trying to eat that up, man. Eat that solid. Then deal with my personal matters, which is my family and financial obligations. Handle those. I need to handle all of those together. So it spit out this professional development plan. Okay, so here's the plan. Starting with professional development plan. My current situation, it says working on back-end application using Golang and AWS services. Here's a comprehensive learning plan. So phase one, we have phase one, phase two, and phase three, phase four. So there's 4 phases. And phase one says core programming concepts, 1 month. I don't know if that's the duration or if it's saying that's where it begins. So first month you do this, second month you do that. If it's 1 month, you should spend 1 month on this area. Either way, object-oriented programming. Number 2, data structures and algorithms. Okay, you're starting out from scratch. Don't worry, don't trip, man. I got you. Okay, like I said, I'm starting from scratch. Really, if you think about it, I don't really fully understand all of these things. There's so many different. There's a large. These are when you think about data structures and algorithms, we're talking about a large body of knowledge. And so we're not going to tackle every single aspect of that. We're not going to consume it until we've consumed it all. But we're going to, some fundamentals of how this works. Have a fundamental understanding so that way we can continuously learn and build upon those skills. Same as school. This is no different from school, y'all. Y'all know how it was. Start off with kindergarten or might do preschool, but you go K, then first grade, second grade. You just build on the fundamentals. Phase 2, back-end development skills, 2 months. Yeah, I'm thinking that's the duration because the way it's worded. I don't know. I'll ask chat later. But Golang advanced topics. So we'll dive deeper into advanced topics. And then 2, microservices architecture. I asked it, you can see here, to provide the rationale. Basically helps me understand, like, is this necessary? Like, problems does this solve? So microservices architecture, for example, the rationale is helps you understand how to build, excuse my phone, how to build and maintain scalable decoupled services. Dope, right? Phase 3, cloud and DevOps, 1 month. AWS advanced services, master the AWS services you mentioned. Rationale, AWS skills are often required for backend development roles. Terraform and Kubernetes. And I mentioned the technologies that I work with on a job currently. So that's why it's given me a plan to grow or develop those skills. 4, software engineering best practices, test-driven development, and design patterns are solutions to common problems. Knowing them can speed up the development process. Then it provided some recommended resources, some books like Clean Code by Robert C. Martin, Design Patterns, online courses, Pluralsight. I'm not a fan of Pluralsight. Their content isn't stay up to date. Things have changed since a year ago, but Udemy, I like Udemy. Course like Coursera. Practice. It says use platforms like LeetCode because we're going to need to practice, right? So LeetCode and HackerRank for coding challenges to improve your algorithm skills. So I've told chat that I will dedicate 4 hours a week. So that's the plan. So maybe you can't dedicate 4 hours a week. Maybe your time is more, you're dealing with more time constraints. So just have to work with what you can give it. Maybe you can only do 30 minutes a week. So that's fine. So let's see, job security plan, and then personal concerns. I was telling, like I said to you guys, I was telling you about time management, family support, with, how to make myself more valuable to the company and how to take advantage or to do that and how to do that. So that's the plan. So we have 4 phases, and this is what's going to help us develop the core fundamentals, concepts of programming. Are y'all ready? So let's dive in. Let's keep it going. Now, there's a few, there's something else I needed to do. Oh, when I think about it, I'll add it in the next video. But, so I'm going to close this video. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Wasn't planning on doing a 45-minute or 50-minute hour-long video, but I think for YouTube, I'm actually seeing that the longer the content, the better. So I'm gonna add this to YouTube. I don't know what I'm gonna do for TikTok because they're not gonna. I don't know how that works, but I did see that they have a new feature where I can break. I don't even know if I can upload the whole thing if it's an hour long. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out too. So stay tuned, y'all. Follow me on social media: Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. I don't know about IG. I have an IG, but I'm not really doing much with it. But YouTube and TikTok and LinkedIn for certain. Okay. Maybe once I have more of an audience, I'll probably start using Twitter more. Okay. Till next time, to the next video. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Hey, stay doing your thing. Focus on one piece at a time. That would be my advice, my closing advice. One step at a time. Don't stress about the whole entire mountain or climbing the entire mountain. I don't do that. Since I was young, I just focus on doing one thing at a time. As long as I can see the next step in front of me, that's all I focus on. I'll worry about the next problem or challenges when I get there. Until then, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm focusing on what's in front of me. So what's in front of y'all right now is just staying tuned until the next video. But if you really want to be more proactive, just reach out to me and we can go from there. And if you want to join me on these videos, even better. I would love to have discussions about this too and debate about these various topics and what's going on in the industry and all of that good stuff. So got some other, let me just give a quick shout to about my segue into my other content. So I'm working on something that's closely related to this, but not exactly. It's called the moral framework of TV characters. And the reason for that is because, like I was telling you before about my upbringing, my childhood, you learn and understand how to develop your moral framework in the midst of what you might be growing up in an environment that's not conducive or less conducive to you being morally, solid moral framework and solid spiritually speaking. Okay, not religious. Religious is when you could practice something, but not really. The example I'll use is like the Pharisees or Sadducees. They were religious because they would practice, but they lacked substance. They lacked depth. Okay, and that's not what we want, right? That's not what I'm after. If you're like-minded, then yes. Anyway, follow that content because I'll be diving in more to. I think it's better to see visual representations of the different challenges and obstacles that we go through in life through using TV shows and TV series and films. So one of the things, or some of the films that I'll be exploring, are like really like the legal ones, like Suits. And there's man, there was this one where this guy, black guy, and he got framed, and he became an attorney inside the prison. It was, oh man, it was crazy. But morally speaking, man, there was a lot there to explore it and dissect, break down, and really, because we think that we're doing something good, but we're really compromising. We're really compromising it, and we kind of line or move the line, right? The goal line. Well, this is okay because as long as it's the ends justify the. Does that phrase go? The ends justify the ends, like that, man. But you don't want to do that. Having a solid moral framework is having it set. You understand the difference between right and wrong. What's righteous? What's evil? And not compromising, no matter what, even if you're facing difficult situations. Yeah, man, I'm really excited about that because that's what I'm dealing with every day, and it's. So I used to fight every time, angry and upset and all of that crazy stuff, and so now you have to be self-controlled. I'm focusing on being self-controlled. I still get angry, but it's a progress. It's not normal to get angry. We get angry, we get upset. It's just that you don't want to lose control when you get upset. You don't want to, you want to be in control of your actions and what you say. in what you do. Okay, so that's the key. But that's it, exploring the moral framework of TV characters. What I'm using is AI machine learning technology, incorporating ChatGPT to assume expert roles to parse through various areas of concern that's relevant to this analysis. Okay, crazy man. I got a video, so check out the video. I posted in the description, and I don't know how I do it, but it's called. Gonna include roles like psychology, this is behavioral analysis, societal. Societal, exploring societal norms. So experts in that area, reflection, because we'll need that part to align our current, our present experience, and potentially future experience with what we're seeing visually within this particular, and how their decisions they're making and why they're making these decisions. So I'm really excited about that. So like I said, it's kind of related because have to deal with these every day. So it's not just work that we have to do, but it's also the challenges and obstacles that we have to endure and overcome each and every single day. So before we get to work, we have a family, we wake up, things could go wrong. I don't know, children can act up, your spouse can act up, your family, you go outside to your car, your neighbors could act crazy with you. I still live in a city. So man, people be out there. Like my job requires concentration, and I'm in a city where people just be blasting music, and I was guilty of that when I was young, man. Like all those adults was probably looking at me like side eye, and I'm thinking like, yo, I'm jamming, but they like, yo, we not trying to hear that, and people be jamming. I'm that music early in the morning, the AM. So anyway, but that's what I was doing. That's crazy to think about that. But anyway, so stay tuned. Interested in that, I'll provide the content for that so you can check that out, y'all. So until then, one step at a time. We won't allow ourselves to get too distracted. One step at a time. So stay tuned to the next video, and if you need to reach out to me before then, feel free to do so. All right, till next time. Later, y'all.